Gurren Lagann is insanity par excellence, but we mustn't dismiss this farcicality on the grounds of superficial experiences. If life teaches us anything, it is that our sensory organs are proficient at gathering information, but require a filtering cognition to unearth the mysteries that lie underneath. We must therefore peel back the veneer of explosive colors, outlandish personalities, and extravagant mecha transformations to grasp onto the underlying message that is so stark that it might as well be Yoko Littner standing completely naked in your bedroom. But Crunchy Man, Gurren Lagann is a nonsensical meta-anime that is a parody of the mecha genre, you might say. Perhaps, but suppose we take the goal of breaking through the heavens as a serious proposition. Could we thusly claim that Kamina's rhetoric is meta in and of itself, speaking to a generation of apathetic youth whom lost their purpose and gravitated towards nihilism and all of its repugnance therein? The humans whom dwell in the caverns below the earth represent this nihilism, as they have eliminated all the sharp edges of life by accepting a timid disposition that yields a society of unending dullness, not unlike sand. Sand! What could be worse than living in your own metaphorical grave? A grave where everybody wants the same, and everybody is the same. Fear and passiveness are the rule. Any indication of assertiveness is treated as if it were a disease, a certain type of madness, if you will. But who is really mad when the norm dictates that one must keep their head down, live beneath the ground, and work ceaselessly until their heart stops beating? If it is even beating at all, sounds like an illness. An illness that not only affects the people of Gurren Lagann, but affects our own society. It is a symbolic representation of our own lives. Because despite the fact that we do not live below the earth, many of us accept the disposition we are in and don't press upon our boundaries whatsoever, in fear that the herd, i.e. society, may punish us by law, or, possibly worse, punish us on moral grounds, thus creating ridicule and embarrassment. Kamina is the antithesis of this modern subterranean human who has rejected himself in the face of authority. Kamina thusly seeks to emancipate himself from the sickness that is slave morality via asserting his courage upon the world through the will to power. This comes about, firstly, because he attributes worth to his life that others have long since discarded in themselves, and as such, he promotes his own values that stem from his longing to attain the status of hero among men. The road toward the aforementioned goal, obviously, is not an easy one. However, it is preferable to the duplicitous nature of the oppressed, i.e. promoting an egalitarian life, but secretly condemning those in charge. Yet the subversive tactics of the disenfranchised pales in comparison to the strong-willed individual who seeks a new value system that he writes with his own hands. History, after all, is penned by the winners. Kamina's indomitable spirit bursts through impenetrable barriers, allowing others to see a world of possibilities previously unknown to them, like the possibility of self-belief and affirming one's life as valuable. Morality, a rib-tickling trifling, is thoroughly disregarded as the fear-inducing sham that it is. Of course, this may sound absurd upon first glance, considering that society is built upon moral systems. However, when the moral systems suppress human creativity and intuition through systems of guilt and terror, then people are not truly free. This is the message imparted to Simon incessantly by his big bro Kamina, to eventually blossom into the strong individual that lays the seeds for his own future, that are incorruptible by external forces. And as Simon begins to trust his big bro, and their success as a tandem proliferates, the young apprentice begins to self-actualize, and, thusly, rejoice in his growing power. One could even liken Simon's burgeoning drill, i.e. spiral power, to the will to power itself. As he believes more in himself, his abilities expand in new and creative ways. Until... Kamina is expelled from the world, depriving Simon of his purpose and his will to affirm life. Nihilism and depression ensue. Simon from this moment forward must stand on his own 2 feet. A process that derails Gurren's mission of defeating Lord Genome and the Beastmen. But, far more importantly, this process immobilizes Simon's internal growth of becoming self-actualized. Of course, his team members attempt to revive the old Simon through their collective efforts. But the will to power, spiral power, can only come within. Something Nia intrinsically understands as she asks Gurren to wait and allow Simon to find his power in his own time. Simon, the digger, rises from the ashes, from the flame that he used to incinerate his old self to be born anew, confidence restored. With his newfound strength, Simon and Gurren successfully defeat the Beastmen, and subsequently Lord Genome, to capture the world for themselves and install a new society. But this becomes a problem in and of itself, chiefly due to the exchange of one moral system, Lord Genome's autocracy, for Racio's statism, i.e. a system of government where the state has unfettered rule despite the external appearance. Racio's political paradigm should come as no surprise. As a matter of fact, it was expected via his abandonment of religion and the death of God. Remember, Racio's previous village was inundated with dogmatism and a belief in a higher purpose. Due to this belief crumbling under his feet, Racio, under the Nietzschean supposition, was thusly left with 3 choices. 1. The acceptance of futility via nihilism, Simon's choice in the wake of Kamina's death. 2. The replacement of God with the state, Racio's choice. Or 3. The belief in one's own self via the building of new bridges toward new possibilities, i.e. Kamina and eventually Simon's raison d'etre. Since belief in the state requires a certain level of moral acceptance, it is incumbent that any and all dissidents are ignored or forcibly removed to assure that the mass proselytization of the virtuousness of the state is not infringed upon. Therefore, Simon's individual, heroic mindset, an affront to the common good the state abdicates for, lands him in jail. Furthermore, this reinforces the all-too-pervasive dynamic of the slave versus master morality, a system in which the masters cultivate their strengths and excellence, while the slaves adopt a herd mentality and cast aspersions on those whom dare to dream for the stars. Or, in other words, a countermeasure of the weak and mediocre to weaken and pull down the stronger, via moral judgment. However, the impending doom conferred upon the people of Earth cannot be remedied through ethics, rationality, and the common good. In matters as large as the universe, we must trust our hearts and our ability to dare the impossible. All the world is theory until someone crazy enough is willing to test it. Simon carries the spirit of his big bro with him, but it is not some transcendental entity or magical power. It is, in fact, courage, a certain type of madness, if you will, to conquer all the doubters who are not bold enough to forge their own roads with their own hands. After circumventing the state, i.e. Racio, Simon encounters an enemy that may be the most despicable of all, the anti-spirals, otherwise known as Nietzsche's last man. A being whom not only embraces nihilism, but asserts it is the only answer and imposes it upon others. The character and the appearance of the last man, the anti-spirals, is the antithesis of creativity, power, and madness. Comfort, security, and mediocrity are the only aims of these purely objective entities, whom claim the Archimedean point provides justification for their self-imposed restrictions. Goals, aspirations, dreams, power?
We say no, 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 not at all!
We prefer to put our last trust in a sure nothing, rather than in an uncertain something. Pure rationality inoculates the spirit from chaos, thereby assassinating the individual. The anti-spirals are everyone, but no one. fuck depression, build a bridge, drill a hole in the universe with your will to power. Get in the fucking robot, Shinji! Life is hard, so get harder. Limitations are illusions rooted in fear, and fear is yourself. Overcome your greatest enemy via indulging in wickedness and growing the tree that reaches heaven with roots in hell. Affirm all the aspects of life and attain glory, my friends, lest we all become barren in dynamism and embrace pain. Yes, revel in its potential. One must bathe themselves in sharp experiences if one wishes to attain the razor's edge needed to pierce through the heavens. Gaze forward with the eye of a hawk, attack with the cunningness of a lion, and reach for the stars with the irrationality of a human.
Bro, fight the power.